So, welcome back to my channel, guys. It feels like I haven't spoken to you guys in a minute because I just uploaded a part 2 last week because I spoke too much with the relationships thing. I do really talk a lot. But anyways, hope you guys are good. I'm very well. It's getting close to the time to announce that thing I said I'm going to announce. But today we're talking about doing the work. I think the past couple of weeks I've been spending a lot of time talking about the theoretical stuff because it's hard, it's a lot of work, but what is the work? I'm a very practical person, so I don't like making it seem like you just wake up and it's like this. It has to make sense, it has to be practical, because then if I have practical things to do, then I can always retrace or redo certain things to get me aligned again. So I think one of the things that stirred this up, that stirred Journey to Self, was that I realized that every year I have New Year's resolutions that are the same, which means there was no growth, there was just repetitive patterns about myself, and I was just like, okay, something's gotta give, because clearly what I'm doing is not working out and I have nobody to blame but myself. So it was a place of letting go of the pity parties because nobody was attending them, even I was getting sick of attending them. So what I started with doing was committing to, first and foremost, since I've always had body issues, I was like, commit to being consistent to yourself. So everything that I did stemmed and rooted from the intention of being intentional and present and showing up for myself consistently, even on the days that I don't feel like showing up for myself. Demanding things from myself first before I demand them from anybody, be it friendship, relationship, family, and colleagues, etc., etc. So on my times of travel, when I was doing road shows last year, I started answering 10 self-reflective questions every day, and then I combined that with journaling. I've been journaling since high school, but the difference with the journaling that I started last year was that I was honest. I would break down my thoughts, I'd break down my feelings, and not want to sugarcoat just in case someone found my diary. So the self-reflective questions, you can simply just go on Pinterest, type self-reflective questions, and they cover a lot of things: how you communicate in friendships, relationships, where do you see yourself in your career, what traits from your childhood do you carry with you, which similarities do you have to your mother, you to your thingy, to your father, are you happy, are you not happy, what do you like about yourself, what do you need to fix. So it was questions that only you have the answers to, and some of them were really simple, but when you actually thought about it and had to write it down. I have a couple of books where I bought 2 choirs that I wrote it on and stuff. So like when you sit there and you're answering the questions, you're like, oh, this is so basic, and then they're like, what are 3 things you like about yourself? And you're like, me? Like, and then you realize you don't like about yourself. You don't like anything about yourself, and then you have to really dig deep and be like, oh, maybe I could like my lips. Maybe I like my smile. Because it's always easy. I found that it was always easy to write, oh, what do I hate? I'd be like, yeah, well, that mark on my tongue is actually quite annoying. Upetilam is actually quite annoying. Or I think I have an ugly laugh. Sometimes my voice is too deep. So you see how easily the list of things I don't like about myself just comes up easily. Then I found that I struggled a lot with things that I like about myself, or things. It didn't even have to be physical features. It could be like characteristics, and you sit there, you're like, do I even have any character at this point in time? So those really helped me formulate an opinion, because in one of my videos I did say I struggled because I didn't have an opinion. I didn't know what I felt about anything. So the questions really helped me to take a section of my life, let's say career, and like, where do you see yourself in 5 years time. And one thing that I picked up with answering questions like that, they made me very uncomfortable with answering that, because having to answer where you see yourself in 5 years time, in 10 years time, you have to have some sense of direction and self acknowledgement and self awareness and I was not very self-aware, so it was very awkward for me to quote myself in what I want to do or be in 10 years time, because I've always been what other people wanted me to be. So that was tricky, but the questions were so necessary because it didn't require me to have a paragraph of an answer. Some of the answers literally had a sentence, and I was just like, that's all I have. And that's one thing I cautioned myself on, to answer honestly, not to answer in a professional, or I don't know, like it must be full of meat. Like if I don't have an answer right now, I don't have an answer, I'm gonna think about it, you know. So I'd have those sessions with myself. And then I also invested in watching Impact Theory. A friend of mine recommended Impact Theory. It's a YouTube channel. I just downloaded the episodes there. They basically deal with a variety of people, but it's pro mental health. So I was really pushing for my mental health last year as well. I think it's just a lifestyle thing now, but I would watch an episode every day or every second day. That was my life, day in and day out. So I'd go work out after work, and then I'd go and take my 10 questions, and then I'll journal my day, and then I'll end the day off. Either a sermon or an episode from Impact Theory, and then I'd also listen to Jay Chetty, and then usually from the people I watch on Impact Theory, they usually recommend a book. So in between that, I'd be reading books, like allocate a chapter a day. Like the core of everything was just showing up consistently. And I'm not gonna lie and say, oh yes, I looked forward to writing every day, because the questions were not fun. Working out was not fun, you know. But then I'd have milestones where I'm like, oh, I ran 10Ks, and then I'd look forward to running tomorrow. So it has its ups and downs, but it really is beneficial when you look back and you're like, oh, I've been doing this for 3 months consecutively, you know. And I made sure that I didn't involve anybody, because at the end of the day, I needed to be accountable to myself. And in some of the videos that I mentioned that I'm not a great communicator, so I needed a practical thing for me to do. And I want to highlight that in me doing this next exercise that I'm going to mention, there was no expectation from the other parties to reciprocate the gesture that I did, you know, because this is what you need to understand. It's for you, and it's your intention. And just because I'm on a journey to self, I can't impose it on another individual. If I decide that I'm gonna do something for you, my intent is for you to receive what I'm giving, not for you to respond and say, oh, how great I am or whatever. So there was no expectation in the action. So in me not communicating well, what I decided to do, because Ekaya feels, oh, funny, like a Kaya, she shows no emotion. So I was like, okay, how can I try in a way that I'll be comfortable in, be able to express myself and share with my family and loved ones my experiences of them. So what I did was I wrote everybody letters. And I don't know if I wrote I love you at the end, because I don't come from a very affectionate family, but it was very uncomfortable, because I think I wrote lots of love. Or did I say I love you? I don't know, because we were not necessarily a family that says I love you. So it was also awkward for me. I was just like, why is this so weird? So I wrote my mom Kulu, my siblings, my cousins, and some of my friends. I wrote them letters. It was just a letter of, this has been my experience of you. This is what I wish for you. This is what I've observed of you. It was pure positivity, you know. It didn't say at the end, please write back. It was literally me breaking the barrier of being able to communicate, being able to voice out my experiences of the person so that it doesn't feel like I'm a closed off person, you know. So that was a challenging thing. But before I started writing for the family, it has to start with me. So the other thing that I always make sure I do, I start with myself, because I have to show up for myself first before I show up for anybody else. So I even wrote a letter to myself, and it was just along the lines of acknowledging how proud I am of myself in taking the steps to make a conscious decision to be present and intentional in everything that I do, and acknowledging that it's not easy, you know, but it's the discomfort of not being happy with my life that drove me to be able to push through even on the days that I didn't feel like it, you know. And I just wanted to be proud of myself. And there were moments where you sit back and you're like, dang it, girl, you doing damn things, you know. So I really enjoyed the letters. I think I was traveling to Joburg for the wedding, and I just left them on the counter, and then I think my sister dispersed most of them, and then my brother, I snuck it in his bag when he was in town. And it was just nice to get not necessarily feedback, but just the thank yous and whatever, because it opened up dialogue. That's another thing. It opened up dialogue because I don't know if it was my mom or mom cool who was like, what propelled you to write the letters and stuff? I was just like, I needed to share my experiences of what I've observed and learned about you guys, so that you don't feel like you're invisible in my life. So it doesn't feel like I take you guys for granted, because I pat myself on the back because I'm phony, you know. Whereas, you know, people miss you, people need some sort of interaction with you. So yeah, that was quite a nice experience. It was like, it felt like I didn't know I was holding my breath until I wrote the letters, because it's like, you could always do this. You don't even have to write it in a letter. You could just have a conversation in Umuntu and say, oh, this is what I've observed about, this is what I like. This, like, dialogue. Dialogue felt weird for me, but the letters really helped spark conversation. Now it's easy to be like, yo, mom, A, B, and C, even with my sister or whoever. Not that I struggle with talking with my siblings, but just showing appreciation for me was a bit, I was just like, oh, that's too feely. Like, I'm the ice queen, I'm sarcastic. Like, we thugs, we don't cry, you know, because I've always had an issue with vulnerability. And I think it was difficult for me to even come to a space where I give out the letters, because I was also that part of me that felt like, okay, they're gonna probably think I'm being weird. So there was a sense of a bit of judgment that came from my side, me judging myself, you know. But you literally have to fight through it. You fight through it because you want to be consistently showing up for yourself every day. And then I also did my affirmations, you know, because, like, you know, doesn't know real from fake. So if I'm confessing that I am beautiful, I'm wonderful, I'm worthy, I'm a faithful partner, I'm able to love, I'm able to receive love, it becomes normal to me. It becomes normal to me. So I also did affirmations as well. Wake up every morning, stuck it on my my thingy, my door. And then you'd also see at the back of my bed, I have a pink letter. I constantly write myself letters just to keep myself in check and tell myself how proud I am of me, you know. So I did those things consistently for the longest time, which gave me the courage to do Journey to Self sleepover, where I brought other girls in and gave them journals and had t-shirts written Journey to Self that I gave them, and we just spoke, and the platform allowed them to meet themselves. And I could never fully express how open and genuine and raw and beautiful that platform was, you know. And one thing that showing up for myself has taught me is that everybody needs an ear, you know, and you just gotta avail the opportunity to listen. You know, people are not afraid to be vulnerable. They just need to feel safe, and if you feel safe within yourself, others feel their safeness and they open up, you know. And one thing that also really helped me, I have issues, well, I had issues with insomnia, till I realized it's usually when I haven't devoted enough time to my spiritual wellness that I suffer from insomnia. Like, I'll just be up and not be able to fall asleep. Not necessarily because I'm thinking too much. My mind just didn't want to sleep. So what I would do is I'd make sure, another commitment I made was that I'll pray every night, you know. So whoever I interact with that day, I cover them in prayer, because it's not necessarily with I'm going to have to hang out with everybody that I know, but if I genuinely want you in my life, I genuinely want good things for you, so I'll put those good things in prayer, and God will align whatever He wants to align for your life. So it was literally all about positive vibe and just good intention. So I'm not saying don't go to sleep and pray like I did, but I used to try push myself to sleep, to wait until midnight. Then I'd pray at midnight. I'd light like a candle, just set ambiance and just talk to God. Yo guys, I'd talk to God and like lay my heart out. And sometimes I'd be praying and I'm like crocodile tears, snot in my snot dripping from my nose, because sometimes it's so hard confronting yourself that words cannot articulate truly what you're feeling. So yeah, I cried a lot. I cried a lot, and I think I cried for the times that I should have cried and I didn't feel safe enough in myself to cry. Yeah, I cried a lot. I cried in my prayer a lot, and then I'd sleep like probably whenever I finish praying. And then sometimes during the prayer I'm just like, God, you know me, it's cool. Sometimes I'm praying for like 2 minutes, I'm like, today I'm just tired. And I lived that truth. I'm not gonna try and cramp myself up to pray for like 30 minutes. If today feels like a 5-minute prayer, we're doing a 5-minute prayer because it's genuine and intentional. I don't want to be like fake praying, you know. And then I'd also have a 3 o'clock alarm, but eventually my body just woke itself up. So I pray at 12, pray at 3, and then when I wake up in the morning, I do my affirmations. So it's literally formulating us a routine of self-love and self-awareness, self-accountability, self-worth. Like, you know, it's receiving love from yourself on a daily basis at a high dosage. And then so when other people are like, you're like, oh, thank you. It doesn't feel foreign, because love doesn't feel foreign, because you've been giving yourself love for the longest time, you know. So those are the practical things that I've done. I've also read books. I've also just engaged in conversation with people, you know, and just I've opened up myself to reading more, to asking more questions, you know. And I don't rush emotions now. I don't rush feeling happy. I don't rush feeling sad. I sit and feel, guys. I just decided to feel for the longest time, and it worked out. And it worked out. It worked out. I'm able to sleep peacefully. I'm able to call myself out when I've done a mission. I'm like, yeah, that was not okay. But I don't sit in the pity parties. Like, that's the thing. Journey to self is not about sitting in pity parties. It's like, yeah, feel it. Let's fix it. Okay, we've got a solution. Let's move on. And it eventually becomes normal to to show love, because it becomes your life, you know. You don't struggle to say, oh, you look pretty today. You don't even struggle to receive compliments because you've been complimenting yourself. Like, it just really makes life easy. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say doing the work is fine. If it comes with a lot of tears, it comes with a lot of days where you ask yourself, why are you bothering with this? But it really feels good when you feel good about yourself and you feel like you are showing up for yourself consistently, and you get into a space where it doesn't feel hard. And it also gets you into a space where if I worked out for 4 days and on the 5th day I don't feel like doing it, I'm like, it's not even like I'll play catch up. It's like, no, I know I'm gonna get back at it. So that's why it's easy to get back into stuff when you have things, practical things that you can do, you know. I'm planning to start therapy soon, like when lockdown like finishes, if it ever finishes. But I think just being conscious of your mental health and how you treat people and how people treat you, and that setting boundaries and so on and so forth, and just wanting to build healthy relationships. I think therapy will definitely help with that, because journey to self just has many layers, and you can't say just because I've been doing it consistently for 2 years I've mastered it. There's no mastering of self, but there can be a mastering of pure intention. So yeah, I can't say what I've done will work for you, but what I can encourage you to trust the voice in you that will direct you into what practical things that you can do for yourself that will help you journey to self and face your inner child. I don't even want to say demons, because it's just the layers that need to be experienced, you know. And yeah, so going forward from August, I think I'm going to be posting every 2 weeks. So it's no longer going to be every Monday, it's going to be every second Monday, and maybe random videos, because life is getting a bit hectic, and I don't want to do indoors just to kunitala. I really, if I'm giving you a video, it's because I really feel like it's insightful, or it's really authentic to me, and I'm not just taking it off. I need to submit a video on Monday. So from August I'll start uploading every second week. But yeah, I'm very happy. I am very, very, very happy. God is good all the time. Yeah, I'm happy. I don't enjoy doing the work sometimes, but it's necessary, because then you won't be demanding too much from people if you've been showing up for yourself. And whether people show up for you or not show up for you, for the mere fact that you've been showing up for yourself, you won't struggle to see the silver lining in any day, because you trust yourself and you've gone through storms and overcame them. So anything that you face, you are able to overcome. But anyways, have a good Monday and a beautiful week ahead. I am going to upload this video.